Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, and it's time to put a smile on that face with some amazing Batman Easter eggs that are just some of the coolest details we've ever seen. Throughout this video, we're going to be discussing everything that you need to know about them, whilst also delivering some ice puns you'll absolutely love. Don't even think that last one works, however, there might be some things you don't want to know here, so I suggest you slide off to avoid potentially having the movie ruined for you. We're pretty much the Edward Snowden of spoilers, so make sure I'm sorry, that was so bad. Anyway, with that out of the way, thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into the breakdown. Okay, so the first Easter egg we need to discuss is the Superman extra that was seen walking around set last night. This Christopher Reeves costume brings a lot with it, and it has so many things we can read into, whilst it could also mean absolutely nothing at all. What it does mean though is that in the Matt Reeves Batman universe, Superman exists in some form or another. Now Reeves has said that this is going to be a very grounded portrayal, and so far everything we've seen has carried a lot of real weight to it. The trailer was especially good at setting this up, and while this is the DC universe, I do think that this Superman may be riffing on a comic book character in the world, or maybe the Christopher Reeves film exists in the Matt Reeves continuity. I think that this Easter egg has been placed in here not as a confirmation or denial of that, but rather as just, well, an Easter egg in its purest form. In my opinion, Warner Brothers and Reeves likely have some ideas for what they want to do with the franchise down the line, and maybe they're just putting this in to tease that Superman could be out and about there in the world, or if they decide to change their mind at some point, just make him some cool little comic book character like the Man of Steel that we know and love. Now what this likely is that it's taking place at the Halloween party we know was due to be filmed before lockdown came into place. There were a lot of calls for extras and costumes, and it seems like this is pretty much what's happening at this moment, as there were also several other people spotted in very nice DC get-ups. Unless this is what Batman and Superman now look like because the movies run out of money, which if they have, they should put it on ice. Hey, it's the way I tell them. Now speaking of ice, we also have a cool little Mr. Freeze Easter egg that popped up on one of the flyers that was seen dotted about the shooting locations. We're going to be talking about a lot of these in the video, as they've been used as set dressing to bring everything to life whilst keeping it in line with the universe. Now shoutouts to the Bat Robert, which I hope is a play on the Bat Report, as they found one of these related to Goth Corp, aka the company that Mr. Freeze works for. The flyer says stab out the eye of Goth Corp, so I'm guessing that it's one of the Riddler's gang, or even the villain himself trying to bring a little anarchy to the corporation. Goth Corp featured heavily in the Batman the Animated Series episode Heart of Ice, and they were actually the company that not only provided funding to his wife's treatment, but were also responsible for the accident that turned him into Mr. Freeze. I would love if in some way Riddler causing an uprising against the company also caused his wife's cryogenic chamber to be destroyed, and this would mean that he was responsible for Freeze falling into the vat that changed him into the infamous villain. Now the movie is probably far too stacked as it is to have this in, but we do know there's going to be a Gotham Central TV show coming down the line, and one of the best arcs in that comic book series actually centers around Mr. Freeze. I would love it if Riddler's uprising somehow caused the villain to be created, and then that tied into the Gotham Central TV show, which would help just to flesh out the universe massively. It looks like there's going to be a ton of hints towards villains and the greater world too, as we did spot some more flyers that also mention fear on them. This is obviously hinting towards Scarecrow's fear toxin, which is a massive weapon in the Batman universe. Now just in case you missed our last video, we did theorize that Barry Keoghan, aka Stanley Merkel, may actually be a big Batman villain who was masquerading as a policeman whilst also dealing drops on the side. We stated that these drops would be things like the fear toxin and Joker gas, which he had stolen from the evidence room and then started dealing on the streets. We have seen signs for drops and the health warnings that come with them, and the logo that was shown on them is now side by side with the Fear City symbol. Big Bat Theory was the guy that first brought this all to our attention, and I definitely think it leans towards our thinking on the movie, though we could be completely wrong. Now another thing that's really interesting is that amongst these posters is one that has a huge smile on it and a teared up set of eyes. As we said, if our theory on the drops being linked to both the fear toxin and Joker's laughing gas is true, then it does make sense why the health department are so worried about it. You have one variation that could send people spiraling off into their own worst nightmare, and another which, if used incorrectly, can make the person laugh uncontrollably until they die. I think it's absolutely amazing that they're dropping stuff in like this to flesh out the villains, but we also have something that looks like it could be referencing the heroes too. Amongst the litter is a piece of paper that says something along the lines of "F you headlick, sidekick, great escape is for the weak, to the end, mad looking for sanity." Now shout out to Chris from 3C Films for bringing attention to the word sidekick, which does hint towards the little bird pal that hangs around with Batman. I don't think that Robin will feature in this movie or, pop up anytime soon, but it is good that they drop these cool little things on set that fans will absolutely eat up and make 800 videos a week on. Other things at the set that have been caught are a sign that says broke, which was put up outside the courthouse, and there was also a newscast running in which mayoral candidate Bella Real was being interviewed. This seems to be the same program that Bruce is watching in the Batcave during the trailer, and though we don't know exactly what they're talking about, with the mayor being confirmed as dead in the movie, it does make sense that she would be interviewed over what her thoughts on the situation are. And finally, we got some more footage of the Batman glider scene that looks like it's going to be an amazing part of the film. Firstly, F the Sun, as it's the worst newspaper in the world, but also it looks like the scene will be taking place at night, and they've been practicing it all day and every day, kinda going over the stance that Batman will be having before he jumps off the building and goes to who knows where. Anyway, that's pretty much all of the updates on the film, and with it being such a stacked week for Batman news, I don't think it'll be too long before we find out something else in regards to the film. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on the behind the scenes looks, so make sure you comment below and let me know. If you enjoyed this video and want something else to watch, then also check out our breakdown of the other behind the scenes images that we have linked at the end. We discuss the potential Mad Hatter Easter eggs in more detail, and also go over why we think the Tribune Tower that's being filmed this weekend is actually Wayne Tower. Don't forget we're giving away 3 copies of the Marvel Phase 1 box set, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below. The winner is going to be chosen at random on the 30th of October, so make sure you get involved. If you want to support the channel and get to see content early, then please consider clicking the join button below. You can also come chat to us on our Discord server linked in the description, or at Heavy Spoilers on Twitter. Thanks for making it until the end of the video. You've been the best. I've been Paul, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.